Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for tuning in to another Diecast Emporium review. As you can tell from the title, this will be a video that I've wanted to do for quite some time. This is an HO scale or 1:87 scale excavator collection. This is something that I know a lot of you have wanted me to show off. So I've been waiting for a few pieces to come in, but now that they are here, I figured this was as good a time as ever. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the video. The first model that you see is a Caterpillar 315C excavator by Norscot. This was released approximately around 2002, and they came out with a couple versions of this. The standard one, which you see here, and also a weathered version that you see there. So that's not custom weathering, that's factory. I believe it was around 2006 that Norscot did this. They did it for a couple 1:50 scale models, a couple 1:87 scale models, one of them being obviously this one, and I think one or two 1:32 scale models. So pretty nice looking. So those are the 315Cs, both die-cast. Next, we will take a look at another Norscot model. This is the Cat 320D. Rubber tracks, a little bit newer, as you can see with the updated Cat logo and information. Still a great excavator. One of the only complaints I would have with this, of course, is that the tracks are not proportional, and they do tend to just form kind of wherever they want to form, so it doesn't give that realistic profile of an undercarriage. And, of course, the rivets aren't painted on the boom and stick. But obviously, if you're going to use this in a diorama or a train layout, both of those issues can be fixed relatively easily. So there's the standard 320. Now, Toy State last year came out with a few models that were, quote, roughly 1:87 scale. This is one of them. This is the Cat 320E. It had a non-functioning bucket. So what I did was I bought another Norscot 320 boom stick assembly and bucket, and I mounted it on the 320E. And I think it turned out quite well. Looks pretty good. And now instead of having... take it off here for a second. Now, instead of having this, which was the standard, you can see it just goes in, out, in, out. There's no bucket curl or anything. It now has a fully working bucket. All right, so next up, this is one of the Komatsu shareholder gifts. This is a Komatsu Pc 210. Good looking model. It's got those GPS pods, of course, up on top. Decals applied very nicely. However, the hydraulics on this are extremely loose, so holding any sort of pose is nearly impossible. So, I mean, it just falls to the ground pretty easily. But in all aspects, again, if you're just wanting this to sit on your railroad layout, it's a good model. Let it come around to the other side before we switch it out. Now, I don't know what the material is that they used for the stick and boom and bucket. It's either a high-grade plastic or styrene or something, but it's definitely not die-cast. But it looks the part, and the color match is good enough as well. Alright, now on to one of my two favorite 187 scale excavators. And one of the more expensive. This is... yeah, you can tell that it's brass because my machine stopped working. This is the CCM Caterpillar 325L excavator. This was released as part of the original 12 in 1:87 scale. Looks really, really good straight away. It is an extremely heavy model, which is why you see my spinning table stop. But it looks great. The tracks do not roll, they are stationary. However, years ago, Zyklon models, released an update for the undercarriage that you could purchase with working tracks and a little bit more nicer looking tracks. However, just that would set you back a cool $160 plus, and it's probably more than that now, as anything with CCM, of course, the price goes up. But for me, I kind of just like to keep everything factory, and good enough for me. Looks good. Okay. Next, we have a Hobby and Works model, I believe. This is the Volvo Ec 210. going from a high-end model to a model like this. This retails for somewhere around the $25 range, as opposed to the $500 plus range for that excavator if you can find one. Good looking. You know, the graphics look nice on it. There's also some really tiny warning graphics, both on the rear counterweight and on the stick and boom. So it tends to stand out and pop a little bit, and really just a nice, solid-looking excavator. So that's the 210. Here is the 240. Again, highlights being the warning labels. The detail is really nice. Now, the tracks on here, I want to say, are not the tracks that came with it. The tracks that came with this particular model, one broke, and the other one was not in the box. So what I did is I took an old Masto bulldozer, and I took the tracks off of that and put them on here. And honestly, I think it looks better that way, especially when it's not missing one track. But in reality, the track pads and everything probably are a little too skinny for this machine, but it does the part. Also on this, it has an opening engine compartment, which is pretty cool for a 187 scale model. You don't often see that. All right, next, another HWP model. This is the New Holland 215B. There are some warning labels. The decals are applied very nice, along with the New Holland Kobelco logo on the rear counterweight. Really a nice looking thing. There's some arrows actually on the track frame and everything, which is nice. You don't see that very much. And again, this model would retail for somewhere around the $25 range. So definitely not going to break the bank if you pick a couple of these up. Next, we have a New Holland Ii 485. I don't believe this is completely 187 scale because it's not. It's actually smaller than the New Holland 215. But it is categorized as HO scale, so it will be included in this collection. But it's important to note that if you wanted this model or its demolition partner that you will see here in just a second, it's much smaller than an actual 485 would be. So there's the standard one. Next we have the Demolition Boom. There it is. So as you can see, even though it's a little bit farther away, it does have a shear here and a long-range setup there for demolishing buildings. But besides that, it's identical to the other one. All right, another one of my favorites. This is by NZG. This is the O&K RH6-22. This one has metal track pads. Definitely a heavier model. Really love that red color with the gray. I think it looks great. This one you can get on special from a lot of places. And quite frankly, it's one of the better metal tracked 187 scale excavators out on the market that you can get. Especially if you don't want to pay an arm and a leg for a CCM model. So this is a nice, smaller alternative. But really, you know, and this goes for obviously the full range of modeling, but really the full range of buying anything. You get what you pay for. You know, if you buy something for 25 or for 25 bucks, you know, it's only worth that. But if you want the high dollar stuff, then it's going to last you a little bit longer, and you're making an investment. Anyway, here is the case, sorting grapple. The operator's cab does raise to give him a better look. And, like I said, he does have a sorting grapple, which does work. It spins, it opens, it closes, it does everything you would want it to do. Another HWP model. Very nice looking. Let's get him off here. Got about a handful to go here. Trying to breeze through this as quickly as possible. Here's an interesting one. This is actually a Norscot model. It's the CX330 case excavator. There was a time when Norscot held a license other than just Caterpillar, and they were allowed to produce other items, and case was one of their contracts. So they did a 4 or 5 1:87 scale case models. This is the excavator that they produced. Really, it looks quite nice. Only complaint are the large silver rivets, which would look so much better painted. But considering the time period that this was made, it's a nice, solid, larger excavator choice. Alright. Speaking of larger excavators, this is the Case Alliance 1488. So this is a much older machine. This is right after the whole case where, no pun intended, where Case bought out Poquelin excavators. Kind of formed that alliance, if you will. So this is a pretty big excavator. Looks good. Tracks are rubber. Full functioning boomstick and bucket. Rotates 360 degrees. Very nice machine. Alright, we got 2 more to go. Next one we have is a Hyundai HX520L. This is a very large excavator. Duh. Very nice. But the plastic content on here is rather large. But still a nice looking excavator. And certainly a more affordable one if you want a larger excavator in that size class. Alright, and for the grand finale, here we go. CCM Caterpillar 349FL hydraulic excavator. Made entirely of brass. Go ahead and back him out so he shows up on the full screen here. There we go. So as you may or may not know, CCM a few years ago made this in their preferred 1:48 scale. Earlier this year they released this in 1:87 scale. And really, it's beautiful. It's just as eye-catching as its 1:48 scale brother. Great looking excavator, outstanding hydraulic detailing, warning labels, graphics are applied well, metal tracks roll just fine. Even the bucket has a few little decals that if you look close enough you can see. Just an outstanding model. However, for most collectors it may be out of the price range. I know it took me a little while to be able to afford one of these, but I'm certainly glad I got it. It's really, really nice looking. And kind of, it's the marquee of my 1:87 scale excavators for sure, and one of my HO scale favorites overall. So that'll do it, guys. Thank you for sticking with me. I hope those that requested this video enjoyed it. If you have any questions or concerns, please leave them down in the comment section below. I always do my very, very best to try and get back to you guys. I am very busy. A lot of times people on here get a little irritated, but this is not my full-time job. I hold 2 other jobs, so be patient, bear with me. Don't constantly message me. I will get to you when I can. But, yeah, so I hope the few of you that requested this video enjoyed it. Until next time, guys, have a great holiday season, and you can always request a video for me to do. If I have the model, I would be more than happy to do it for you. But, you know, I don't have every model ever made, so, you know, take that into account. Alright, so we'll bring this video to an end. Thanks, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. Take care. We'll see you soon.